What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. Let's see here. Let's wait for some people to come in. I'm having my one of my really good friends, one of my best friends, Jake Cosme, on today. I'm excited for that. Oh, we got there you go. We got Jake's coming on right now. So let's hop right on in. What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. Give me a second. I'm gonna bring in one of my good friends, Jake. Let's see. Wardell Realty Inc., Anthony X Homes. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Great. Happy
Looking
Thursday.
looking good, dude. Look at that. Is that like
Hey,
a little East Coast traditional kind of style right there?
when one of the things I've come to find out in the tech industry is you got to wear sweaters, and
It
and I've added a little bit of flair with it with a collared shirt.
looks
We're-
good, man.
yeah, we're on your show today, but it's all about sweaters.
Nice, man. All right, so we got Anthony X Homes here. We got Chris Cigars. All right. Hey, we like
Oh yeah,
cigars
Chris, my
too.
man.
We like cigars too. We have John Gets Nicole. If you guys are real estate agents or, let us know where you guys are coming from. I would love to find out. This is one of my really good friends from high school, Jake Cosme, and I wanted him to come on to talk about his story, his personal growth story, and also it's Thursday, it's 5 o'clock, it's happy hour time. What you drinking, bro?
Dude, you're gonna laugh at me so bad, but 2021, we gotta work on small things. So
All right, all right. What we
this is
got?
a, this is a Bud Light Platinum Seltzer. It's like lesser on carbs and wheat and all
Oh
that other
man.
stuff. But hey, actually put it in a glass with a lime so it could look fancy. As
All right, good. All right, we got Van Z here. What's up, Andrew?
oh, dude,
The legend Jake. Do you know Chris? Chris Cigars?
yeah, he's him and I were in the Marines together. He taught me everything I know now about recruiting. He was probably one of my first mentors into a sales role.
He says,
Yeah.
I take it back because of your Budweiser.
Oh God.
That's awesome. What's up, Andrew? All right, so this is what I got. I got some tequila. Casadores is my favorite here.
Very
So
nice.
it's just over ice, very simple,
That's
straight
a
to
nice.
the point.
That's a nice glass. What kind of glass is that?
This is called IKEA, bro, right here.
Oh,
This
there it is.
this this
Yeah.
probably cost like $2.
Only the finest.
All right, salute, brother.
Cheers.
All right, let me pour a couple shots here. Get this Thursday night started. We had a long day today, man. Full day, the whole day.
Nice. So
Salute, brother.
cheers. Cheers to you. Thanks everyone for joining. See a lot of
Yes.
familiar faces.
Yeah, so
Thanks
we
for
got
having me, Paul.
Amanda Rodriguez. How long were you in the Marines Force? Yes.
Almost 8 years. So 7 years and 8 or 9 months from 2005 to right at the end of 2012.
That's a
Um,
long time, bro. It's a
it,
long time.
you know what? It's so weird. I've spent as much time out now as I was in, so I sometimes still forget about it.
I know.
But
It seems like a lifetime ago when we were in downtown LA and we were going out and on the weekends and you had to wake up like 2 hours later to go, yeah, to do something for the Marines, man. So that was awesome. Anyway,
yeah.
so let's get straight to the point. Thanks, guys, for joining. As you guys know, I'm a real estate agent at Hilton Hyland here in Los Angeles. The reason why I brought Jake on, and if you guys just joined, we see Carol Cosme, Jake's wife, on here.
Nice.
The reason why I asked Jake to join is because he's got a great personal growth story, and I'm on the personal growth journey myself, and I just started I would say about 2 years ago, and it's been great. It's a lot of work. It's not easy, but it's inspiring and it's fun. It's like we get to do new things. I started to sell recently. Jake is literally changing or upgrading his job every couple of years, which is pretty amazing. And whenever Jake and I get together, which is probably like once a month on average, we always kind of talk about where we're at with our goals, with our growth, and all that stuff. So it's like I always enjoy having those conversations with you, man.
Perfect. Thank you.
Somebody asked, let's hear your story, Jake.
Oh,
So
wow.
tell us about your story, man.
Yeah. So it's Jess Trin. Her and I were at the academy together. So, give everyone some background. Paul and I, we went to high school together in beautiful Rancho Cucamonga. It's east
Beautiful.
yeah, about 60 miles. We actually didn't know each other in
Yeah.
high school, but we were familiar with each other. After graduating high school, I decided to go to the United States Naval Academy. It was in Annapolis, Maryland. Did 4 years there. It was a fun time. I got in a lot of trouble, but had a lot of fun, met a lot of people out in Maryland, and really just got to, and that's why I wear this nice little boat thing for, and
Do
then
you
after,
sell?
what's that?
Do you sell? Is that what that's for?
Well, it's Nautica, so it's a brand no one wears anymore, but it
Oh,
is a sale.
gotcha.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2005, and at the time, there were a few wars going on at the time with Iraq and Afghanistan, and I ultimately made the decision that I wanted to be a Marine Corps officer. So graduated in 2005, and after graduation, went through all the various trainings, and ultimately went out to an infantry battalion out in 29 Palms, which is, when you and I first met and we started hanging out. And if you can recall at the time, before every deployment I would have to Iraq,
Oh yeah.
you and I would go out with a group of our friends and just light up the town, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And, so did that for 3 or 4 years. I was an intelligence officer in the Marines. And after that, I made a transition to become a recruiting officer. I was actually a recruiting officer at USC and did that for about another almost 3.5 years. And that's where I got really the basics of learning, going through a professional sales training program. And if no one is unfamiliar with it, a recruiter in the military, specifically a Marine Corps recruiter, they are hands down the hardest, most trained salespeople. They do probably like 1,000 cold calls a week. No kidding.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, day in and day out for 3 years straight. Like it's a
That's
3 or 4.
amazing.
Yeah, and they're held accountable, and they have monthly missions, so they have to meet a monthly quota every single month.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so for 36 months they have to do this, and that's where I got familiar with what a sales process is like, right? What a prospecting, candidate, cold calling is like. I got out in 2012, and in true form, and definitely don't want to hide anything about it. Probably I got out at about 29 years old in 2012 with exactly the same dollar in my pocket when I started when I was 17 years old, which is probably, but I had a really cool BMW to show for it. So
The M3.
yeah, it was an amazing car. And like anyone at the time getting out of the military, you don't really know what you want to do. You're just not familiar with the corporate civilian life is like. And so rather than actually deciding to go pursue a career, I thought at the time it would be great to, become a small business owner, an entrepreneur, if you will. And I decided, like, what other great transition would it be from going from a Marine to opening up an ice cream shop in Redondo Beach, right? I was like, this is the perfect transition. And, we did that with a mutual friend of ours, Josh, and like anything else, it was incredibly difficult, and I got to learn the process of opening a business, what it's like to find a retail space, but with very quickly we come to find out how hard it is to be a business owner, and I can absolutely assure you and tell you that anyone that is a small business owner, I'll put it another way, anyone responsible for their own future without, the guise of a giant corporate entity to protect you, kudos to them, especially right now in COVID, the small business owners, especially in LA, around
You're getting crushed, man.
I mean, cheers to them. I can only hope they survive through this. But that was the first, I would say, major taste of failure I had. And I think you know about that. We opened in Rita's Italian Ice in Redondo Beach in March 2013. And by September, I was already out the door. So I opened a business and I made it 6 months almost, not even a full year. Right. Yeah. It was just so hard to manage people, so hard to deal with a partner, so hard to basically make a dollar out of it and make it be worthwhile and worth your time. And then, a store's open 7 days a week, and just the future thought of like, wow, I would never get a day off or time off or time to myself. It was really rough. And, as Carol and I were dating at the time, and we decided we want to start a family. And so I was like, okay, this, the small business isn't doing it for me. I failed at it miserably, and I was like, dude, I need to get out of here. I needed a reset, right? We needed an escape, and I was very fortunate. And there's a lot of companies out there like this, but there was a recruiting company where they take former veterans from all services, and they try to help find them, corporate careers, right? And I came to them, I told them, I was like, hey, look, I just want to be in sales. I want to do technology sales. That's it. And, they put me in a career recruiting program. Literally within a month, I had like a job offer, and it was to go do technology sales for a company called Amphenol up in the Bay Area, up in San Jose. So Carol and I.
So that let me just kind of interrupt you there for a second because I remember that time and I remember I think it was like the grand opening of Rita's. I think was when I found out that you and Carol were, expecting and
Yeah.
then I think then like a month later you're like I'm gonna go up north to San Francisco to start this job. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Because you just started a business. But like you knew that that business was just like it wasn't going to work out for you. So you just like pivoted, right? It's like we're like talking a lot about pivoting right now with my coach during COVID, because it's like, when things go wrong, you have to make a decision. Like you can either do the same thing and expect the same results, right? Or you
Yeah.
can pivot and so you did like an amazing job with that. So like let's obviously I interrupted you for a second there, but
No.
let's say hold on. Let's say hi to people here. Hold on. We got Sawyer Realty LLC. We got Brooke List 7786. Hello. Doreen Gagnier from Realtor. Let us know where you guys are coming from. We got 8 people on here. We got Carol's on here.
Nice.
Simply Tuck from Rancho. Andrew. We got Brian Aru, the Argentino, as
Oh yeah.
well.
Haven't seen him in a while.
All right, so Jake, let's continue. So you got a job as a tech salesperson up
Yeah.
north,
Yeah.
NorCal?
In San Jose. It was super cool, super fun. I had an expense account. I had a company car, and basically I was
Nice.
calling on big major tech companies, Cisco, Google, Facebook at the time. And literally I was doing this drive every morning. You wake up, you go on their campus, and you cold call and just try to go get them to buy our products. And it was fun. Probably the best part about it is just taking clients out. It was a very customer facing job, like 90% of the time. As you alluded to, decided we had our family. Jaden was born. Carol and I got married, and we were up there for about 2 years, right around 2 years, and it was a good time. But I do want to hit on something, and you kind of mentioned it. Really, that transition from deciding to start a business, failing at it, and then finding
Yeah.
a job within 6 months was
That's got to be
yeah, it was
tough,
rocky,
dude.
right?
Yeah.
And then having a child and starting a family is definitely rocky.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure, man. That's crazy. But the thing is, like, you knew that having the ice cream shop was not a good idea. Raising a family, if you were single, it probably wouldn't have mattered. But the fact that that you wanted a family, and it shifted everything, and you're like, all right, I got to be the man. I got to like step up to the plate. I got to go. Like that was pretty cool, man. Like because I recall that time we were going out a lot. It was fun. I mean, listen, we were single, just doing our thing, right? But you definitely pivoted and you just went, all right, let's go this way.
yeah, I would say it comes for anyone. It comes for people at all different times. It doesn't matter when it happens. Let's just call it
Yeah.
a wake up call, right?
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
and look, there's some people out there that are incredibly motivated and they don't need wake up calls, and they'll just continuously be successful. Great
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
This was my wake up call. This was my pivot, right? I'm sure you had a similar one. Hopefully you'll
Yeah.
tell the crowd
Yeah.
that happened. But this was it for me, and it was great. I wanted to embrace it. I wanted to really grow and become that man from being this this bachelor Marine that fun in his 20s to be like, okay, you need to have a real job now. You need to have a family
Yeah.
now. You support them. Go embrace your 30s. And so that all attributed to it, right? Something I wanted to welcome and open with both arms. So
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's kind of talk about, all right, so that was your moment to like actually pivot. But then you've also like, instead of staying at the same job for 20, 30, 40 years like a lot of people do, like you've been super hungry, man. Like that's been really inspiring for me, is that like I see you every couple of years, like you're at a new job, a new position, because you get bored and you're like, I want a challenge, right? Because like money is money's great, right? Like it's always going to be there. It'll be there. It'll be gone. Like it doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, it's like we want to be challenged, right? And I feel like that's what fuels you. Obviously, getting better pay, getting better benefits, getting equity in a company is obviously gonna make it a little bit sweeter. But I think for you, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's about the challenge.
I actually, I will, I don't want to say it's not that it's not about the challenge, but at the time I didn't realize it. And, clearly we'll hit upon this in a second, talking about a growth mindset. I didn't realize that at the time, but I wanted to learn something else. That's really what it came down to, right? You look at
Gotcha,
yourself,
gotcha.
I'm doing this for 2 or 3 years. Do I want to do this for 20 years? I would like to learn something else with my time left, right? Left doing my corporate career. And, one of the things I came to learn and find out at the time, it was a manager, but everyone I look to now, I actually don't even think of people as managers anymore. I think of them as mentors. And
Mm-hmm.
my mentor at the time, Tim Sparr, he's an old school sales guy. I've been doing it 25 years, right? He drinks his little whiskeys and he's like, oh, Jake, we got to do this. He told me, I was like, hey, why wouldn't this engineer go set the meeting and close this deal? Like, why doesn't he mean to do it? I'm the sales guy, right? And he's like, well, you got to do this and that. And I was like, well, why didn't I just learn his job? He's like, Jake, if there was ever a sales guy that learned the technical aspect of this job, he'd be unstoppable. And so I was like, oh, that's good to know. And so I made the pivot that I was like, okay, I want to become more technically adept. So that's when I made the transition from up north, found a job in Silicon Beach, which I'm not a big fan of that name, but in Playa Vista, where you're living now, with a company called Edgecast Networks to become a solutions engineer. So I went from like still customer facing, but instead of handling the contracts negotiation, it's like, okay, I'm doing the development, the deployment of
I didn't know that story. So like this guy
yeah.
really helped you out because he's like, if you can be a salesperson, which you already had that training with the Marines and also with this new corporate job, and you can learn the technical aspect of it, you're going to be unstoppable. And like that's what's like you've been unstoppable. It's like you've gone to the like the next level every single time. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and it was one of those things that I didn't go to school for a degree in computer science. I had no idea the job I would soon take, what it would turn into, but it was just one of those things where someone gave me an opportunity, and so again, I'll refer to him as a mentor. Is down at the company Edgecast Networks, was bought by Verizon. I applied and I was like, look, I need to get down to LA. My family's there. Carol's family's there. Our family, we're from there. All the friends. And I told him, I was like, hey, look, dude, I had all like the business aspect of this, and I was applying to be a solutions engineer. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. He said, made a reference to HTTP. It's a protocol we work with. And he's like, don't worry, I'll teach you. He's like, oh, a bunch of my buddies are all in the military. You guys can learn anything. I love you guys. And so someone, took a chance on me. In
That's
the
awesome.
world, yeah, in the world, and I'm sure you know this, and everyone out there, if you put yourself out there, someone will take a chance on you and someone will help you. And it's our duty in the future to do the same as we see other people that want to take a chance as well, right?
Yeah, that's actually funny that you say that because there's a guy right now on the IG Live. His name is Wavy Kano. This guy is awesome, man. Like he's been helping me out, pass out flyers in my geo farm. He saw a post of mine at the UCR soccer Instagram page talking about like how I'm doing in my real estate business, and he wanted to play soccer at UCR. So he reached out to me saying, "Hey, about real estate, full ride because of his grades. Latino like myself, has already saved a ton of money." And he's like a true inspiration to me because I'm like, I didn't have that mindset at that age, man. He's 18 years old. He's already reading, Think and Grow Rich, which is an awesome book that me and you both love. He's reading all these books. He's already talking to mentors, just like you're talking about at age 28, 29. He's doing it at 18. So like, think about where he's going to be at 30 years old. That with this kind of mindset.
I mean, I wish you and I had our heads straight a decade ago. Who knows where we would be?
I know, but you know what? It's like everybody, like you said earlier, everybody has their different path, their different time of actually, either pivoting or either staying on the same course and just being that same person. I mean, like we know a lot of people like that as well. So, I mean, it doesn't matter either way, as long as you're happy, right? I mean, I think for me and you, happiness comes in really, going out there and like, seeing what we can get done as a person. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, you got to press the limit, right?
Yes, exactly. So there's a bunch of realtors here, because I have a bunch of realtor, followers. What would you say to like a new realtor, right, that's coming into the business? Like, what would you give them, advice, right? Like, obviously you're not a real estate agent, but, given your growth mindset, what would be some good advice for them?
Yeah, and again, with no background in your industry, but I can just tell you, even from my own perspective, being in my industry and anyone else, what they do, really what I see it is, you got to put yourself out there, right? Yeah. There's a book I have up there that Joe Baylor wrote called Limitless Mind, and it's all about having a growth mindset. And a big reason why people have a fixed mindset is because of, um, they're not afraid of rejection. They're afraid if they say something, it might be wrong. So they're afraid if they do something, it might be wrong,
Shame.
or it might not
They're
be.
they're afraid of shame. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not well received, or we've lived like this for years, right? In fact, I'm barely coming out of it now, right at age 38, and I'm still learning about it, and I still want to learn
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
it,
It's
you
been
know,
uncomfortable, right? It's like I was so comfortable in my position on a team in real estate for the first 12 years, which is crazy, right? And I mean, I was at a good firm. I was still selling some pretty big properties, but I was never I was never uncomfortable. Never. I was, it was very easy for me. I was not pushing myself at all. And finally, like I woke up and I'm like, all right, like I want to push myself. Like I want to get uncomfortable. And my coach always says like the growth always comes from being uncomfortable, from putting yourself out there, like you said. Like for me in real estate, putting myself out there is door knocking, right? Talking to people face to face, getting that rejection, cold calling, like you said, like you used to do with the Marines, right? Like that was not easy for me. Like when my coach said, hey, like you have to do these basic things in real estate in order to succeed, I was like, I don't want to do that, but okay, I'm gonna follow your rule, like I'm gonna follow what you asked me because you are the expert and you know what it will take for me to be successful. So tell us a little bit about like what things that you've done that has made you be uncomfortable in your career.
um, I, so the first thing is, uh, you got to tell people what you want. And
Yeah.
this, I come from a corporate career where you have a ladder, right? And everyone's trying to climb a corporate ladder, if you want to call it that. But you have to have, and I'll take another term from a mentor I had, and he used this term. It's a little bit antiquated. Um, uh, BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals, right? And you got to vocalize them. Like if you, and again, I know you're working with realtors. They might not have a typical manager or boss, right, as you want to call it, right? But
Mhm.
that's probably the biggest thing of growth is you have to want more, and whatever
Mhm.
that more is, it has to be yours. It can't be someone else's. You can't say,
Mhm.
hey, I want to do this because it's even for a friend, a family member, even for my own personal family. You have to do it for yourself.
Mhm.
And to your point about being uncomfortable, it has to be that big, hairy, audacious goal. It has to be. It
Mhm.
has to scare you. Really,
It has to scare you. Exactly.
it's got
It
to
has to
scare you,
scare you.
right?
Yeah.
And and this is the same thing. If you and I recall, about March last year when I called you,
Mhm.
um, I was kind of afraid to tell you what it was I wanted and what I wanted to do. That is probably the first thing of having a goal. Once you come to a concrete definition of what it is for you,
Mhm.
um, you got to vocalize it. And you got to put it out there in the world.
Mhm.
And once you do that, you'd be surprised how the world comes together to help you with it. But if you
Uh-huh.
don't,
For sure.
if you've never mentioned it to someone, even if you're scared to say it to yourself, if you're scared to write it down, if you're scared to put it on a note somewhere, there's no way the world will conspire to help you, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so important to visualize it, internalize it, think about it every single day, look at it every single day. Like look at your vision board. Like, make it really powerful, make it emotional, and like you said, um, um, you know, having this down somewhere, telling people about it.
Oh
And
yeah.
like that's like the scarier part is like telling people, because then if you don't get to that goal, it's kind of like, oh, like this guy is just full of shit, right? It's like, oh, he wants to become like a millionaire, but like, he didn't do anything about it, right? So it's not easy to do it, but when you do it, then it becomes that much more, like, I don't know, like there's obviously a little bit more pressure involved, and it becomes more real because like you're vocalizing it, like you like like my goals, I tell my girlfriend, I tell my mom, I tell I tell you, right, as well.
Your coach,
And
right?
yeah, 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 my coach, right? Besides having a goal, you have to have a plan though. Like you can't just write down, I want to become a millionaire, or I want to, be an astronaut, or I want to be, a CEO, right? Without having a plan. You got to have a plan underneath it, right? But at least start with a really, what was it, audacious goal? What would you call it, Harry?
Yeah, big, hairy, audacious goal, and I might
Big,
even be ruining that acronym again.
big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yeah,
I like that one. That's good.
it's from an old scale sales mentor. You know, he just actually is about to retire. He's about 60 years old. Your typical New York guy, right? Just like, oh, we got to go in there and, you know, have these plans and, you know.
That's awesome though, man.
Yeah.
Talk about mentors, because I think that's so important. Like my mentor is my business coach, but I never had mentors. I mean, I did, but they weren't real mentors. You know, like somebody who I'm like, I want to be just like this person. I never had that growing up, and you know, I'm still looking for somebody like somebody like in their 50s or 60s that I feel like, man, like they got it together. You know, like they're successful. They're still doing something important in life. They're healthy. They're in a good. They have good relationships, because it's not only about business. You know, it's
Yeah.
about everything. It's about friendships. You know, all your relationships in your life have to be good. Not have to be good, but like it's always good to have that, right? So like finding somebody like that is not easy. You know, because like who has all their shit together? It's like it's not everybody has all their shit together. I mean, you know, everybody has their issues.
Yeah. No, it's in. You know, I definitely don't have one. Oh, there's Jaden.
What's up, Jay Z?
Hey,
What's up,
Jaden.
buddy?
Hey, bud.
How are you? You got the Barca shirt on?
He's rocking the Barcelona.
Yes. Who's your
in the
favorite
house.
player?
He-
I don't know any players.
Oh, come on, Jason, you can't wear that shirt and not say Messi.
Yeah.
And I like the LA ones.
But yeah, so just on that topic of mentors, you know, I still don't have one, like a specific go-to person. I have a coach as well. You know, you inspired me when you got a coach, and I saw the transformation you did.
Mhm.
I have a coach as well, and I'll talk about that in a second. But to provide you a little a story, kind of, you know, there's nothing like hitting bottoms to as a springboard, and
Yeah, for
to
sure.
give you know, kind of the failure I had with the business I decided to start. It actually was preceded by another failure I had before that, when, you know, I got a DUI in 2012, or actually 2011, and I was still in the Marines, so that's a kind of like a scarlet letter. You know, at the time, my major, my commander, came down to me, and I thought he was just gonna rip into me and scold me, but he was actually a little bit empathetic, and you know,
Really? Nice.
yeah, and I still am so thankful for him. What he ended up telling me and was like, you know, Jake, who's your mentor in life? And I was like, oh, it's my dad. He's like, your dad's not your mentor. Like that's your dad, right? I'm sure your dad could be a mentor, but he knew. He's like, that's not your mentor.
Yeah.
And he told me for him, it was his high school coach. And he still talks to his high school coach now, whatever, 20, 30 years later. And when he said that, it stuck with me. It stuck with me from the entire time. And it really transformed me, again, from thinking of people of like, oh, maybe authority, like you're my manager, you're some higher, you have some title, whatever, to, you know, people are mentors. People, you can learn something from everyone. I can learn something from my sales coach. I could learn something from someone I work with. It doesn't matter your title. It doesn't matter if they work for you, under you, left or right. It doesn't matter if they're your friend like yourself. That just opened my mind that you can learn something from anyone and everyone if you have an open mind about it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, that's what I picked up from him in that one instance when I thought he was going to really rip into me in 2011.
Yeah, I didn't know that story. That's crazy. I mean, I had that same story though too. I mean, I didn't have anybody like, you know, tell me that, but I got a DUI when I was, you know, I don't know, it was like 10 or 11 years ago. And, you know, that was a wake up call. Like, I was like, all right, like I gotta stop, you know, being reckless, right? I was being way too reckless. Obviously this is before Uber and Lyft. So any millennials out there, or actually, no, I'm a millennial, but anybody who now has Lyft or Uber doesn't understand how it was to order a taxi and wait 45 minutes for them to come, you know,
Yeah,
and charge you $20 for like a 2-block ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So Jake, tell us about some of the books you're reading to kind of close it up.
Yeah, perfect. So this is great. The one I'm on right now, this is a good, and in fact, you would actually love this. It's called The One Thing. It's by Gary Keller, I believe. Yeah, Gary Keller from Keller Williams. So I don't know if you know who he is.
Of course, yeah. Keller
Okay.
Williams is huge. Like
Yeah.
I've never heard of that book, but I know he wrote another book which is amazing. And I had no idea that you're reading a book by Gary Keller. He's a legend, man.
Yeah, Carol got it for me. I didn't. Again, when I started reading it, I didn't realize at the time Gary Keller, because I'm not in real estate. I was like, oh, Gary Keller, who's that? And then at the end of it, it alluded to a real estate empire. I was like, oh, that guy, right?
Yeah, yeah, the guy's a legend for sure.
Yeah, a few of them, and big, high recommend. Green Lights by McConaughey is. I mean, I finished December with this. This guy is just awesome. Like,
I agree. His story is pretty amazing, right? Like he was doing a bunch of like, rom-coms, and then like he was like, fuck that. I don't want to do that anymore. Like I want to do something more serious. And like he's an amazing actor.
Yeah, 2-year hiatus. He just has a great story. And to be honest, he's a phenomenal writer too. So aside from writing, acting, directing, he can just do it all. And let me give
what's the story about? Is it like his growth like from that, or is it like what? Is it like a biography or?
Yeah, it's his biography, and he takes you from when he was a kid and what he was doing as a kid, and how he grew up from Texas and landed in how he made his big debut with Dazed and Confused. Takes you through that story, takes you through Hollywood and how we went through that. As you mentioned, the rom-com history, and then finally he wraps up of how he came to the part where he's at his point in life where he wants to write a book and gives you the full story.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's see if you guys have any other questions for Jake or myself. We've had a lot of people on here, man. I think this is probably our biggest IG live as of yet. We got my brother Louis on here. We got my friend Ronnie on here. Beyond the Veil, the New Homes Sells, Stefanova, Simply Tuck from Rancho, Connie Chin. Oh, is that
wow,
Connie Chin from Rancho?
Jesus,
What's up, Connie?
Got an all-star crew on.
Oh my, I forgot about Connie. That's so nice. Hi, Connie. How are you? She was always very, very sweet. I remember her in high school. Let us know if you guys have any questions about our stories, about Jake's story, about my story, about real estate. Oh, tell us about some of your real estate investments.
Oh, dude, I can't believe we were about to. So like anything, I go through phases mostly because I get bored or not or what have you. I would say 2 years ago, I was kind of going through this phase of, financially independent, retire early. And, I got rid of my car. I without a car for a year, right? And,
I remember that.
Yeah.
You're Ubering everywhere. That was awesome.
Yeah, Uber everywhere.
It made sense though, because instead like like if you think about the most important asset you have is time, right? And in LA, you're like, I mean, like I drive probably at least an average of an hour a day. If I had a chauffeur and I can make phone calls during that hour, like think about that, right? Like I don't do that, but I know some real estate agents that are like up, like making a ton of money. They have a chauffeur, and it makes sense.
Well, you'll be there in a minute. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I know, baby. I know.
Give it time. Give it time. So at that time, I was really big into the FIRE movement, and so one of the things is a lot of them get to that level through real estate investment. So they have properties that generate income, and so they don't have to work anymore because they live on that income. And so I went to, one of the things when you invest outside of California is that you can generally get a higher than a 1% rent to equity, right? So if I bought a house at 100,000, I could probably rent it out at 1,000 a month, right? So 12,000 a year, and then your monthly payments are 400 or 500, whatever they are. And so I started on that path. I was looking, all throughout the Midwest, and I ended up in Oklahoma, bought a single family home in Oklahoma, went through the full process. And that's one of the things I like about kind of pivoting up every couple of years is you get to learn the new process. And I'm sure you know this, like if you've ever worked with someone and that's never bought a house before, with that experience, like when you work with someone that's bought a house, right?
Yeah.
When people are familiar with the process, it alleviates a lot of fears. And so I look at things, as learning processes. And so out of state, I went to go do that. At the time, we owned a property here in Torrance, California. Through my multiple works at the time, you always invest in, stock. So you learn about how to value a company. But I would say really the big focus I'm at right now, particularly I work at a startup, is I want to learn how to do really equity raises. So how you go from a series A, B, C in a venture capital round. And hopefully my team here at Zakeda allows me to learn that process of how we do our next series round. And then as well, I'm really big, and I'm sure you're going to hear a lot about this throughout the year, in blockchain technologies and Bitcoin specifically, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of the things, and I'll just touch upon this lightly and not to geek out too much, is, the world, it kind of makes these shifts. At first it went to, the personal computer in the 90s, and then everyone had a computer. Then it went to the mobile ecosystem, and then people started to build on top of the mobile ecosystem with games, Zynga, stuff like that. And then after that, it kind of made this pivot from data center to cloud, and now everyone built on top of cloud, AWS, Google, Microsoft. The future of the way I think a lot of people are talking and what I want to be a part of is going to be the next foundation is going to be blockchain, right? And people are going to build on top of that. So it's going to be exciting. We just started 2021. It's the Roaring 20s, right?
Yes, the Roaring 20s. It's our decade, baby.
It's our decade.
Let's go.
Yeah. We've kind of hit the point where you and I we're not in a position of self-discovery anymore. We're in a position of expansion. I think it's going to be a beautiful 10 years from now.
I love that, dude. I love that. What's one of your biggest goals for the year?
Wow. You know what? Back to the thing about sharing and about being scared. I'll share it with you. I haven't shared. I shared it with Carol, but never to the masses.
Let's hear.
I want to get a manuscript out there and publish a book. Love
it, dude. All right. So I know that you were talking about that, but I didn't think you were serious about that. That is awesome. So can you tell us more about it?
Are you sure time's not up yet? We're not about to finish it.
No. We got plenty of time. Come on, man.
Yeah. So things are cyclical and they go in evolutions. You can see here I got books on my desk. I've kind of gone from this point of reading as much as I can or as much as I'd like to while balancing everything else. And I see things as the next evolution going from reading to you want to start writing. Right. When you're in school, you're learning, and then you go to work, you start doing. It's a natural evolution cycle. I think I see this as the next kind of cycle of something I want to do as as we go into these the 20s and as I broach into the 40s.
That's awesome, man. So what inspired you to write a book? Like what was the inspiration behind it?
So you're familiar with this. I joined at the end of last year. I joined a group from what's called the Service Academy Business Network, Mastermind Network. So it's a group of people that all went to one of the service academies, the Naval Academy, West Point, Air Force Academy. And one of the guys in there was an author. And, I went to go stalk him on LinkedIn. And like anything else, like the young, motivator that went to go reach out to you.
Kano, yeah.
Yeah, I reached out to him and I was like, hey, dude, look, I love how he actually was in branding, I think at like Pepsi or one of those big companies.
Huge,
right? Yeah, and he was doing product branding, and then out of nowhere writes a book, and he's been an author now for 12 years, and that now is his company is running his own network, and I think he's got probably like maybe 6 books out there. I reached out to him and I was like, hey, just like anything else, like even the house in Oklahoma, I was like, can you tell me the process? Like I have no idea like do you just wake up and write something?
That's amazing, man. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I cold LinkedIn him, right?
Yeah.
And then talked to him for about a good hour. He put me in touch with someone else, this publisher, and she's also a coach, and so she's just very motivational, inspirational. And you're like, I want to be around these people and see where. And here's the thing, and hopefully you can tell the crowd about what the Salazar group's going to do after this is. I don't have like an end state in mind. I just know that these are.
That's awesome, though, man. That's awesome. Yeah. But you should have a date, though. You should have a date, or you should. You know what I've done with JJ, right? Obviously, she is a coach now, and so she's helped me, create a big goal, and then you work backwards, right? So all right, I want to reach this goal by this date, and then what do I got to do? Say it's like a year from now. So then like in 9 months from now, what do I have to be? I have to, like for your, maybe for you, like you have to like finish the book at 9 months, and then at 6 months, halfway, or 3 months, a quarter of the way, or like, like whatever, you got to research or whatever. But what's the book going to be about? Like, what's like what do you want to write about?
Yeah, it's going to be about everything we've talked about, right? Growth mindset, personal development, some stories. I probably will need some people to interview. Maybe some folks in the real estate,
Yes, I'm down, man. I'm down. That's awesome, though, man. That's huge. That's because you know what, like when you become an like a published author, it's like you get this extra level of respect from people. It's insane. So like in your career, just saying that you're a published author, like that's huge. That's gonna be huge for you.
Yeah. So now I have to definitely do it because it's public. Yeah. So.
Yes.
But,
awesome, man.
As
That's
we're
awesome.
talking about, you got to put it out there, right?
You do, man. You do. I'm really proud of you, man. Thanks for coming on and joining us.
Wait, don't leave us hanging. What's something big you're gonna do this year? What's something big?
So, all right. So my goal is I want to double my production. I did about 720 last year in gross commission income. I want to get to 1.35. That means I have to close 52.25 million dollars in real estate volume on my own. So, and it's a huge goal. I'm basically going to double my income from last year. So it's I'm putting it out there. I'm busy right now. I got to make a lot of calls. I got to meet a lot of people. I got to go on a lot of appointments. I got to improve my skills. I got to do so many things in order to get to that point. But that's where I'm at, man. Like I want to get into that 7-figure income level, man. It's going to be awesome.
Big, hairy, audacious goals, dude.
Yes, yes, for sure, man. For sure.
That's great.
Jay-Z, what are your goals this year?
I don't know.
YouTube.
I already have YouTube videos.
You're trying to be a YouTube star.
I already have YouTube videos. Oh, no.
Are you going to be the next YouTube sensation?
What do you mean?
What kind of YouTube videos are you doing?
Pokemon cards, WWE. I only did one of each, I think.
I found this on the web.
There's Siri.
That's awesome, man.
Awesome.
All right, JC, say bye to everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Happy New Year. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Here's to 2021.
Salute. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Everyone, thank you for joining.
I'll see you on the golf course
Bye.
Next week. Awesome.
Bye.
later, buddy. Bye, guys.